Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Party Makes Things Worse, the Prince of Charming, our Monster of the Week actual play podcast video series. I guess you can go either way on that one. We're getting there now. We're about halfway through. We're approaching halfway. We got to get through a couple more episodes, and we'll be halfway through this campaign here.
That's crazy.
12 episodes is quick.
We're a third of the way through, and it feels like we are still in episode 1 of the TV series, big style.
Yeah. So, thank you for joining us today. We've got a couple hours of monster-heavy enjoyment at the ready here. But before we get into that and we see what our hunters have been up to, we have a couple of housekeeping things. First and foremost, we need to do character facts. Who has a character fact prepared for their hunter?
I've got one I can start with, I guess.
Nice.
Got it.
All right. So I guess Charles Kevinson, since his family is kind of pretty big here, he was at the end of his kind of high school years was getting into a track and field competition, and about halfway through the prep and travel time, he realized that his family had pulled some strings to get him special privileges to get there over a couple of the other local competitors, and it kind of threw his focus, and so he kind of had insomnia the entire night before, and then also didn't want to finish the race. So he feels like he kind of threw the race, but also was feeling so tired that he wasn't quite sure that it was him consciously doing it or just him not reaching his full potential and failing. So he kind of that failure kind of distanced him from his family, and he's told them that he kind of threw the race because of their help, but he still doesn't feel like it was totally his decision to be able to do that.
A bit more leaning into why you stay in that cabin in the middle of the woods on the skirts of the ancestral property makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Who else?
I have
Mine
it.
is... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was about to say, I have it 2/3 of the way there. Give me 3 seconds and I'm ready.
Mine is stupid, so I'll go. Mine is just that Jessica's favorite movie is definitely The Wizard of Oz, obviously. So.
Wow. Deep poll. I don't know if that's what I would have put on Jessica as her number one. Is it a childhood favorite that's just survived till now?
You always oh, I always loved The Wizard of Oz. That's my favorite movie. And then it just never changes.
And then you reinforce it because you're always saying it's my favorite. So whenever you watch it, you're yeah.
But
this
also
is my
she doesn't
favorite.
really movies. She likes The Wizard of Oz. She likes it.
It's tough when your origin movie is so good that when you go back to it, you're like, damn, it is my favorite
right.
though, huh? I always think about that with mine was Treasure Island growing up. I thought that was the coolest movie in the universe. And then as a teen, you're like, I should go back and watch it because I say it's my favorite, but it was my favorite when I was 9. And then you watch it when you're 16 and you're like, fuck, it's so good. You're like, no, it's still up there. No, it's still raw as hell.
Twilight
for sure.
came out in 1991.
It would have been Twilight. She's reading all the books she can that are building up to what will become Twilight. This is a keeper fact. My movie growing up that was my favorite was The Sandlot. And I know that technically speaking, it's not top best film. The vibes in The Sandlot are so good that I won't pull it away. That's top 3 for me still. Easily. So that's my keeper fact.
That one, especially with the intro of the terrifying dog, gave me some nightmares.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's evocative. That movie.
I think that might be where my emetophobia stemmed from.
Probably. It's a pretty rough scene.
I freaking hate that movie. I'm so sorry.
To watch it 3 times a day.
This is gonna be a little bit of a poll, Spencer. I know that you know this movie. If you remember it, debatable. My favorite growing up. It was. I don't know the title of it, but it was. It was Spy Dogs versus Spy Cats.
Cats versus dogs, right?
It was something like that.
Allergy.
What was that?
With the allergy for the vaccine.
Jeff
and there's an
Goldblum's
alien.
The bad guy.
Is it?
I think so.
It's cats and dogs. By the way.
Ah.
Yeah, where it's the dogs are are being adopted and they have their own like secret operations to protect humanity, but the cats are evil. Like that was my favorite growing up.
So it's cats and dogs, and the tagline is "Things are gonna get hairy." The early 2000s really knew what they were doing, you know.
There was no
They
debate,
really-
no need for what subtlety. Who needs it? We're rocking.
Yeah, that rules. 2001. So you guys are a slim decade away.
Yeah.
In universe
It's
from
so
getting
close.
there.
My Thomas Puck's character fact is sounds low stakes, but added up to trouble. Thomas Puck's favorite food in the world is a cheeseburger and French fries, which normally would be perfectly fine. But Puck's dad was a professional chef, and so that went over like a lead balloon. Like his dad was a like full meal every night, like which is for somebody who's read some like Kitchen Confidential stuff is weird. Most people come home from cooking and are like, I'm never gonna cook anything again. Nope. Thomas Puck's dad came home and was like full meal with salad, whole thing, and Thomas was like, can we just fucking get McDonald's? Like he was not having it at all.
You want some pommes frites? I'll cook them up right now.
I'm gonna move out. Yes, that's my character fact for Thomas Puck, which is also why he kind of digs being a full-time monster investigator, because he eats on the road for 9 out of 10 meals, and so basically
Big
just
Dean
gets to hit the
Winchester
faves. No
Big
worries.
Dean Winchester vibes.
Oh yeah, getting that double cheeseburger with bacon. That's Thomas Puck.
It's 1991 when Thomas Puck goes to the doctor. The doctor's like, "Get the double burger. It's better for you." Like
It's good for your cholesterol. It raises it. Connor.
Connor's fun fact, he's a dog person. He owns a dog. He can't take him on this mission though, so he is back at home living with his parents. Is a golden retriever. You'll never guess it. His name is Connor.
Is it spelled differently?
Oh, it's spelled with a K.
Ooh, I like that. Connor. We do need to explore this at some point where Connor got this proclivity for having the name Connor. Like, were you born Connor Connors?
Yeah, he was born Connor Connors. He adopted the dog. The name was already Connor.
It was already Connor. Okay.
Oh.
well,
He did not name his dog.
That was going to be rough.
I was assuming that like 6-year-old Connor was already like, I can either go by my middle name or I can quintuple down on Connor being the bit. And I guess we're naming the puppy Connor. Like just being like, and I guess I'm bought in. I have a fish named Connor. We're going.
So, with those facts out of the way, and even a keeper fact for good measure, we do need to do a recap of last session for our audience and for our fellow hunters and keeper, so we have everything straight. We have a rule against double dipping, so Ethan is out for this week, but he's been busy, so he wasn't able to listen to this last week, so that is all right. So who's going to take over this time?
I guess I will then, if that's
Got
good.
it. Yeah.
All right. So I guess like last episode we started with like Jessica and Charles having overheard the confession from the president. Going back to the college, they met up with Connor. Basically, did like some infiltration, getting ready to like get into the thing. Meanwhile, Connor is just like, meanwhile the president hears commotion outside, peers out the window, and Connor is able to just haul him out and basically keep him locked down as we continue to try to weasel information out of him, and didn't really get too much except that he's like part of this kind of like bigger conspiracy of sort of doomsday cultists or something. And he also had one of those like ritual knives too. Eventually I think we were able to use the using the open comms or something. Thomas was able to get in contact with us, and we all decided to meet up at the uh, the restaurant or the fast food joint,
McDonald's.
McDonald's. Yeah. And meanwhile, he and the sheriff had gone to the hospital to get him patched up. And when they had returned to the car, the body that was in the back seat of the person who was ritually killed and was no longer there. So Thomas quickly checked the trunk to see where if the killer's body was still there. It still was, and then went inside, looked at the footage, saw that the body itself kind of like emerged from the backseat of the car and just walked off into town. And so he stole that footage, replaced it with another empty cassette, booked it out of there with the sheriff, and joined us at the fast food joint. And while he was getting patched up, the sheriff also let him know that there's some sort of story about this witch in town that kind of like haunts people and spooks and causes like some spookiness, and that like a lot of like the misfortune and stuff I believe is blamed on her.
Mm-hmm. There was some talk with the man who you had arrested, which is
Brian Pierce.
Yeah, you had Brian Pierce, the president of the college, in the back of Connor Connor's van. So you interrogated. He revealed a bit of information about what was going on here. I'd say a fair bit. After he heard that whatever had happened, he did choose to disclose quite a bit about their plans. They are attempting to essentially bring about the end times.
A kind of rapture, right?
Yeah, they're trying to hasten the rapture.
He was wildly forthcoming.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, it's something I was thinking about in the moment, and more so now re-listening to it, because in the moment, maybe I think anybody who plays D&D, especially people watching who play games like Monster of the Week or D&D, a little bit of you is like, well, he's talkative because the GM wants us to keep playing the game and we need to know the scheme. But I was rewatching it, and Spencer was putting a real like frantic please listen, please listen, please vibe on there that I do think was intense. So I am beginning to think there's something up with the principal, like our president or whatever. I keep missing that. The president of the college being like, we're gonna make the world. Like there was a real energy to that I didn't really pick up on in the moment, but that on rewatch I noted. So I don't know. I guess it makes sense. There was an evangelical lilt to his whole energy that's maybe not super surprising.
And beyond that, Jessica Fitch found an ancient Bible.
Yeah.
In the desk of Brian Pierce's, in one of the cabinets of Brian Pierce's desk. So, we find our hunters nearing the end of the day here. The sky is orange. There's clouds with light peeking out through them in this McDonald's parking lot. You guys know how when you're in like small town America and you're at a McDonald's, like a Walmart parking lot, and it's just beautiful out? That's what you're looking at right now. Just stunning. And then there's the golden arches kind of blocking that view. I guess for Thomas, that would add to the ambiance.
Sorry, it's early 90s, where a tear falls from Thomas Puck's eyes as like Born in the USA is playing in the background on somebody's car. It's 1991. Being America whips ass right now.
This is what you need. So that is the scape around you. Sheriff Joe Woodard has just shown the utmost relief at hearing that Connor Connors is an FBI agent, and he is not the sole person responsible for dealing with this cult in town. He doesn't necessarily believe in the occult happenings, but he does believe that there is a cult, and he's glad that the FBI is here. And it's not just the solitary sheriff in charge of this town. What are you guys getting up to in these first few moments? Brian Pierce, the president of the college, is still in the back of the car. There's a Bible. You have an idea that you want to go to a church in town to find more information. There is a woman in the woods. Emily is still somewhere in the woods, most likely. She might not have made it back out. And I think that those are the main threads that are open.
Thomas's main opening is going to be to pull everybody but the sheriff aside, which hopefully is not too much of a strain.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Go ahead.
And say, I need to be extremely, perfectly, crystalline clear with you all. That woman was dead. We offered for them to take a look at her, and the people at the hospital just straight up said no. Said nope. Like, she was dead as disco. And she got up out of the car. And I will take the tape that is in the front of my jacket and just like flash it a little bit to everybody and put it back and go, on tape. She gets up, covered in blood and whatnot, and leaves. So I would love for us all to spend a lot of time talking about whether or not we believe in whatever is going on here. But whatever it is real as those fucking arches. And I point up because McDonald's is one of the sponsors for the TV series we're going to make.
We're going to make $1 billion.
So, as much as it's strange, and he looks at Connor for this, as much as it's strange, as much as it sounds like foolishness, maybe it's a germ on a virus on the blade or whatever, I don't know. It works enough to make a dead girl get out of the backseat of a car and go for a walk. So we're going to have to take the threats of magic from the strange man in the back of the van awfully serious. Because, listen, I don't know if it's some kind of Russian nanomites or whatever, but it's real enough to animate a body.
All right. Yeah. Once we get him out of the car, I'd love to see the tape. We can play it in there. Yeah.
Maybe
What are we doing with it? What are we doing with it? We can't.
should the sheriff take him back to the station?
Yeah.
How do we?
Yeah, I can't really arrest him here.
Are we gonna end up killing people? Listen. I'm not trying. To what extent can we? I look at Connor. I like. Can we? You're allowed to visit violence onto members of the United States who break federal laws as long as it crosses the state boundaries. So, hopefully, one of these girls is from out of state. But what are we gonna do when we get there? I know that a few moments ago I made some bold statements about going to a nearby parish, but it occurs to me now that what in the hell are we gonna do? I have a flashlight, and I hold up my flashlight. And I'm like, he had an obsidian dagger, and there's 3 gun stores in town. We have to think about this at least a little.
So, self-defense is always okay.
Okay, good. Great to know.
It's try to refrain from murder. Like an FBI agent, I can't condone mass sprees of murder.
No, for sure.
And if something's already dead, it's okay if you kill something that's dead, I assume.
You
Kind
know,
of like instead of
I was
sorry,
just gonna say that's a good as hell point. If you shoot a dead body that's walking around, it's not like they're gonna get mad again. Is that what Double Jeopardy is?
desecrating the corpse to an extent, maybe, but self-defense against the corpse, I guess, is okay.
Oh,
But
but
as you said
yeah,
about
what were you about to
crossing,
say, Charles?
yeah, as far as crossing state lines, at least it seems like there's like crossing the state of like life and death here too. I'm not sure if that exactly falls into the jurisdiction well enough, but it's new territory to an extent, perhaps.
After you say that, the sheriff pipes up from around the bend. He says, I think that I might have to take the old president here to jail. If you'll let him out of the back, I'll take him in the car and get out of here. You guys are all right?
Sounds good. I guess if you hear of anyone spotting Taylor Finney's, then give us a ring on the radio.
Yeah. I'll keep the line open. I'll get it here on my my chest radio, or I'll hear it in the car. So, I need to look into some stuff. He points at you, Connor. Says, "I'm gonna be calling you, because we need to get to the bottom of what's going on here. We know that there's at least these two that are involved in whatever this cult is doing. We need to figure out who else. But for right now, I need to get him booked. So I'm going to get him out of here so he's not a player, you know?
I think it's worth
Mhm.
noticing. Is there some kind of local, like, city? Not. Whoops. Dungeons and Dragons almost said
Neighborhood
City
watch?
Watch,
City
Neighborhood
watch.
Watch. Like,
Yeah.
well, because like we're all listen. She escaped from an obsidian knife wielding president of a college, and that is terrific. That woman is alone in the woods in the middle of Mississippi. There are a variety of venomous snakes that may become a problem soon. If there is some organization, we have, and I look to my friends here, I think we have other fish to fry. And Sheriff, I know that you are a busy man and need to stay by the phones. Is there some group or locality in town that can take some portion of that on? I mean, do you have a Boy Scouts locally?
Yeah, we have a neighborhood watch. So I could probably call that in. It's not all the neighborhoods, so
I mean, 12 people with flashlights will be enough to do it, but I just don't want her out in the woods for God knows how long listen, two men talking about the crimes they do don't talk about themselves as being an organization helping the well-heeled of the town to succeed. I assume there are a
Yeah.
couple of other factors going on here, and we're going to have to deal with those people. I mean, I hope in long order, but I'm guessing short order is how it's going to go.
yeah, I'll call the Shady Grove Neighborhood Watch. I'll see if I can get some people out there.
That's an incredibly good horror movie name. That's solid.
Isn't that from something? Isn't that like some
It's gotta be the
And
Shady Grove
isn't that
Neighborhood Watch.
Invincible or something? Like
That's
the
that sounds
Invincible, the
like a
Shady Grove,
Goosebumps
Asylum.
novel more than anything else ever has. Like, this is wild.
I
What's
actually don't know.
Shady Brook?
I made it up in my head, but it's definitely
Shady
something.
Brook. Yeah,
Shady
maybe
Brook, Shady
Brook.
Grove, something.
I have no idea.
So that's Thomas's bit of evangelizing. I'm actually okay because I was seen to by a professional doctor, and Thomas is like pretty well bandaged up. He winces a little if he moves too fast, but I'm down to 1 point of harm. Is anybody here like need sleep, or are we ready to like? Is anybody here like really injured? Does anybody here need us to cut away for a time skip so that they can heal a couple of harm, or are we
Good.
doing good?
You're the only one who was really hurt, I think, in our kerfuffles.
I couldn't remember. We're a couple episodes deep at this point. So
There was a couple like 1 points of injuries here and there, but I'm pretty sure you're the only one who got messed up.
all right. Well, let's get the sheriff his man, and then we can talk about what we're gonna do next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you walk over, and as you walk to the van, the sheriff walks in step and he says, "Look, I'm not gonna stop whatever you guys are doing because it's gonna be useful, I'm sure, with the FBI on the side, but please keep me informed. I kind of got to know what's going on, and beyond that, I'd probably be able to help out. So whatever's happening, whatever you guys are up to, just let me know."
What's
Hey,
because we might not always have a phone. Do you have a receiver at the station? And I like a radio.
Yeah, I've got a receiver there.
What's
a
the
receiver
and
there.
we'll take down the frequency for like the station receivers that we can just call in directly without needing to constantly be looking for a phone.
Yeah, I'll keep all my lines open to there. He gives you like the police frequency, and he hands you each like from the back of his car. He runs over. He grabs a couple of like short band frequency talkies, and he says, "There, just in case, use those. I should be able to pick it up in the station from my car, and you guys will be able to pick each other up if you're within a couple miles.
okay, I was gonna ask what the distance on those were.
You got a fair distance,
The size of the town, city.
about half the size, long ways like a quarter size, side to side."
Oh,
You might need to pop open a window or something.
Mm.
All right, not bad. All right, we won't listen. I mean, if anything needs to turn to the long arm of the law, I will leave that in the duty of Connor's FBI. I won't be taking that on myself for certain. And I'm sure the same goes for my two compatriots here. And I give a little like I don't know shrug to them as I say it. Can I peek through the window before we open the door? He's not like sitting there with a piece of sharpened metal or something? Is he like?
Yeah, you don't need to roll for it. You look in, and he's sitting there, but he doesn't have the piece of metal. For a second, you know that image in your head. You're like, oh, but no, he's just sitting there. The sheriff goes to open the door, and he like nods at Connor. He says, "Cover me for a second."
Yeah, gotcha. I have my whatever it is. I have my 99 millimeter. Or 99 millimeter.
99. It's a cannon.
Yeah, my 9 millimeter.
A Civil War cannon wheels around.
Don't move.
He loads some forks into a blunderbuss and comes around the
I'm
corner.
gonna blow you to kingdom come. No, he opens the door while you have the firearm raised. And the president slowly stands up at the order of the sheriff. He steps out. The sheriff grabs him, grabs his hand behind and has a hand on his shoulder and is walking him to the car. He opens it, shoves him in, slams the door shut. He gives you all a wave and he says, "Remember, give me a call if you need anything. I'll do the same." And then he gets in.
Do you do you need to listen to the tape that we got of him? I know you heard it. I can give you the tape.
Yeah, I'll take the tape.
Yeah, I take whatever the recording and clip it and give it to him.
There you go. All right. I don't know how tape recording works.
You take it. It's 91. You take a reel and like roll it all the way onto the reel and hand it to him.
Perfect. He takes that. He does get in the car. He starts it up and he flicks the sirens on and
keep it away
burns out
from
of the
fridge
McDonald's parking lot.
magnets. Oh, I hope he heard me.
All right,
I
where are you
would
guys
like
going
to
now?
be sipping my Diet Coke and also like casually reading through the scary Bible. Probably should have given this to them, huh?
Now this is
No,
the first time you guys.
I want the psychic to have the big scary Bible. Thank you very much. That's Jess all day. You're the one talking to witches.
Here's the question. Have you opened this Bible yet, or did you just see that it was a Bible? I'm pretty sure the answer is no. You look.
Small
Bible.
addendum question. Is it like a Bible or is it like, because like family Bibles are like huge?
It's
okay.
huge.
And does it look like it's made out of human flesh?
There you go. That's the classic. Human skin Bible?
So
yes,
this
no?
Bible would fit in a backpack. It wouldn't fit in a purse.
Huge.
So that's the answer. Roll plus sharp just to get a vibe on this.
Plus sharp.
Because the reality is, it looks like leather.
All right.
That's for sure.
All right.
Heavy dice.
Oh yeah, then my medals. That is a 7.
A 7. It is. You can't rule out that this could be human flesh.
All right.
It's tanned leather, and that could be from any animal, really. Any mammal animal. So you look at it kind of sideways, and you're like, I'm pretty sure, but you're not positive. You have to get it tested to really know. Or find like a mole on it and be like,
I was gonna say, there's a fingernail on that.
Flipping through this? Come on.
Yeah, do you say out loud, like, is that made out of human skin, or are you just looking at it while Jessica's
I'm just looking at it.
Yeah, Jessica, you see Connor staring at the book a little too long. You open up to the first page. It's like stained in this like old wear style. You open to the next page, you get past some of the attributions. And as you get into the actual content of this Bible, it is all in Latin. It's 100% Latin.
Heck yeah, I took this in high school.
Honestly, I was about to say, we're like pretty deep South Bible belts. One of us probably went to Catholic school.
Like, I definitely went to Catholic school. Absolutely, I did.
Somebody in this room might know Latin.
what you learned in Catholic school was enough to like hit the usual songs.
What I learned in Catholic school is what I learned in Catholic school is.
But what you didn't learn in Catholic school was full on Latin terminology and verse to be like, yeah, I can read this. So it will take a little bit of doing or magic. Can't rule that out in Monster of the Week
It's true.
to read this book, but you can't full on translate it.
I do have huge news. I just crunched the numbers. We cannot miss any episodes. If we don't miss any episodes because of our Monday switch, our 12th and final episode will be the week of Halloween. No, everybody clear your calendars meticulously.
Yeah,
This is going to be huge. We're going to be fighting the devil on Halloween. Yay. Yay.
You flip open the book and you see that it's in Latin, so you're not going to be able to read it very easily. You roll me a sharp as well.
The pages are made of human skin.
They're weirdly
What?
slick to the touch.
Stop it.
Ew.
You're getting nasty this season in a way that we did not in Theros.
It's Monster of the Week. Come on, it's got to be weird and creepy and gross.
I rolled an 8.
On an 8, this book not only is it incredibly large compared to a typical Bible, like scale wise, but it is extra thick. There are sections in here you flip through, and the things you can see are like additional psalms that you don't recognize off the top of your head. There's extra sections, maybe a couple of extra books within this Bible. It is very, very long. So that is something that jumps out at you without even being able to read the content.
Well, yeah, because I guess it would really, because you could look for revelations and you could like map out some of the books and start to know where differences and stuff comes where there's like too many, because you can count lines.
Mm-hmm. You're like, that's not right. So you do that as you flip through. You're like, this is way too long.
I mean,
this doesn't add up.
A bookstore or the school, I mean, we might need a few of them, but a sufficiently well-written Latin to English resource and some time, couple of hours, will let, if we can find the parts that are new, maybe get some little bits of information. What else are we all thinking? We've got this.
I think Sarah J. Maas wrote this book. I don't know. Sarah J. Maas wrote this
Sarah J.
Bible.
Maas definitely didn't start publishing.
J.R.R.
in 91.
Tolkien wrote this
There
Bible.
you
I
go,
think Sarah J.
J.R.R.
Maas might be 10 years old.
Child prodigy.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've got some sort of undead out there, as well as the lost cheerleader to pursue too.
Yeah, there's the undead. There's
Okay.
the lost cheerleader.
So let's get our facts straight here, because we need to take a measured approach or we're gonna walk in circles. So there is a local witch in the town's myth and folklore who has seen and frequently spoken of as an ill tiding. The presence of that witch is seen as bad luck. Now, we also know that the elite and educators of this town are in a nefarious super cult trying to bring the devil back for gain. So, perhaps those rumors are ill-founded, right? They are assumably put forth and reiterated by a group of people that were also members of a secret shadow church that worships the devil a little. So I think there is definitely some doubt on the authenticity of those stories, right? There's some issue there, friction-wise. What were you about to say, Charles?
Oh, well, like they sort of worship the devil, but like I think what he had said is like they're trying to bring the devil thing back so that then their agent will be released to stop it, right?
I was more referring generally to the deeply and profoundly negative nature of the thing that they do. I do not recall him saying that they were. I thought it was, we are conjuring forth the devil so that it will kickstart the apocalypse and bring about the end times. I do not recall them saying that they were going to summon some sort of celestial helper. Did that happen? Did I miss that?
I thought they said something about that, but it
Well,
might have
I
been
mean-
just like the grander scheme as opposed to a specific entity.
I mean, there
They
will
were
be the blasting
saying-
of Gabriel's horn at the end of times. That's a
Yeah.
fact, right? But
I will clarify. So what he was saying was they're going to hasten the end times, and they're not going to summon anything to do the deed. It's prophesied that these things will happen. They just want to kick it off so everything that's prophesied to happen will happen. So they want to bring about the end times so the continuation of
Ah,
that prophecy will come to pass.
Okay, wait a minute.
They're not going to influence it.
So, I think we may need to consult our intimate knowledge as individuals of the Book of Revelations, because the dead walking is on that list, eh? So if that's what they were trying to do, right? If this ritual of stabbing 24 times is just a way to make the dead walk, well, then we should probably take a little looks-a-do at the other ones. I think there's something about an eclipse. Hopefully Leviathan does not rise from the sea and boil the oceans. I don't know what the hell we're going to do about that. Hopefully that's like, I put the kettle on and dropped a goldfish in. Something kind of timid. Because I can't think of any way
I
to
mean,
handle
it do
that.
be hot, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
son of a biscuit! All right. So
The camera pans out, like this is a nice wide shot, and you do see the Mississippi River just like outside the town's bounds. There is a large body of water
All right, so
near town.
at some point we have to reevaluate that, because I don't think anybody in the call knows those off the top of their heads. I'm going to look it up. There's something about something running with blood and whatnot, but I'm going to have to consult my notes there a little bit. So there's this story of a witch. She brings ill tidings. These people who seem to be powerful may be behind that to some degree. So, Jessica, the witch in your head may or may not be evil. We're going to have to establish that pretty lickety-split. We know there's a cabin in the woods somewhere that exists in Jessica's mind and hopefully also in reality. So we have Schrodinger's cabin, which is good to know, and that is obviously connected to the witch. The dead are walking in the form of this girl. We've got obsidian knives, which is super duper confusing. We could not be further from a volcano if we tried. So those are, I don't know, South American in origin? I have no idea where you would have gotten that in this area. So there is something strange going on there, but I don't know if it is so direct as that. What are our other central details? They are going after young women, right? We know that. This is a young women seem to be the target thus far. Perhaps that is just because
people
they
of
were
high power.
Yes, these are a gang of high-powered individuals attempting to make the town more prosperous, is what he said to you all, going off your reporting. I don't know how the end times will make things more prosperous, but perhaps he was speaking in rhymes. Maybe he was, only half telling you the truth. He meant more prosperous, i.e., eternal life in the light of the Lord and whatnot. What else is there anything else that we know besides that? We know what church the man goes to, so that is some form of lead.
We could maybe check the history to see who was like supporting the mayor in his campaign.
Yes. William Flagg, our mayor of town, that's a
Weren't
big
we
one.
gonna check the lineage as well of the girls?
Oh yeah, that's
Right.
true. That's true. The lineage. Okay. Well then, listen. If we need to translate some passages of a Latin Bible, and we need to interact with a normal Bible to see what the other signs of the end times are, and we need to check lineages, I think we are going to break into the school library, most likely. Which I like, because to be perfectly frank, if we're going to break into a church potentially home to an evil cult of devil summoners, I would like to do that after the sun has gone down. The chances of somebody being asleep will make me feel much comforted. Connor, do you
Fair.
only have one gun?
I have two. You can use one. You aren't allowed to use the
I
other.
think whoever's with you should use the other, because you don't.
Can I use the 99mm, please?
What I don't think you have is a giant backpack full of ammunition. So if you give it to one of us and we empty the clip, that's the beginning, middle, and end of that helpful tale.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have this, and I have my sniper rifle.
oh goodness gracious, golly gee willikers. Okay, so I think my talents would best be served at the library. That is what I am best at. I am not much of a ass kicker, as it were. Is there any other goals we've got going on, or are we converging on one location here?
If you guys are going to the library, I might be able to head back out into the woods to see if I can find where Emily has gone.
Yes, you do seem to have some real extrasensory talent for that, so that should be glorious. Maybe you can meet up with the neighborhood watch. I keep wanting to say night watch, fellas. I don't know how to tell you. I've been reading a lot of Terry Pratchett in these last few months, and it's 1991, so probably I'm probably reading Game of Thrones. It's stuck in my head. All right. All right. I'm gonna head that way then, and Thomas is gonna grab his keys and hop in the truck and head to the library. I suppose we are going to form just something of a wagon party of people headed over that way. So Jessica skitches. She gets on her bicycle and just rides on the back of one of them.
So Thomas is going to the library. Charles, you're going to go to the woods to attempt to find the missing cheerleader. Connor and Jessica, where are you guys going to head?
I'm going to the library too to look up Latin and research the Bible and stuff.
Nice.
I think I could just get us into the library pretty easy as janitor.
Yeah, you got the keys.
Yeah, a little less breaking in. So, yeah.
I mean, I could like swipe my student ID. I don't.
I don't think they have automatic doors yet.
What?
Surprisingly enough.
I think they're usually just like magnetic codes, though, right?
I don't know. Key cards are a well-aged technology, so it's.
I actually don't know when magnetic key cards came out.
Next time we do a Monster of the Week season, we need to do some of this research beforehand. We've been we on a regular basis. This just turns into a wait. When the hell did they come out with the MP3? Like,
yeah. At least it says in 1975, Thorns launched the first recodable card key lock. Although I'm not sure. I guess we'd have to know where they were like widely distributed. Perhaps. Oh wait, when did key cards become popular?
Oh, no.
1970s swipe cards.
Yeah, fair. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, goodness gracious. The question is, when would a college have had the necessary means and will to set up 20,000 or whatever? Well, no, this is a small sort of local school to set up a good 600 or 700. So, because wait a minute, what are we talking? We're not at NYU. There's a librarian with a set of keys who opens the door at the start of the day and sits at the desk in the front all day long. There's no way. There's not. Bright View College in the middle of a town of 1,000 people probably doesn't have that kind of funding kicking around. I just remembered that Charles doesn't even have an office. He's in the back of the utility shed, and we're like, I wonder if they have a state-of-the-art security system. Wait a second. I, the player, have just looked up the 7 signs of the apocalypse and Revelations, and boy, howdy do these suck to be witness to. Oh my goodness, we need to get in front of this. So yeah, I guess as we so Connor would have keys either way.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Great. So we see the party separating here. I think that we were in 2 vehicles, but it was because one of them was the sheriff's patrol car. So we are going to follow everyone in the van. Connors, I assume you will be driving the vehicle here.
Yeah.
You do have AV stuff set up here. So while you're driving, Thomas, you can put in the tape to play it for everybody so they can get a sense for what's going on with this risen.
Actually, if that's the case, then I'll give the tape to Connor and I'll drive the van so that Connor can watch with everybody else. I know where the school is. It's not that bad as long as there's not like a kill switch on your van so that somebody else wouldn't be able to drive it. I'll take a shift driving and I'll say, here, just watch the tape. And I'll give them the time marker. I assume it's written in Sharpie on my forearm. Probably I'll be like, it's 1 hour 10 minutes, and I'll start driving us over to the school.
Yeah. So you take off. As always in Monster of the Week, the tires squeal as you rip out of the parking lot on your way. Connor, you get the AV equipment set up. Click, 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 plug it in, set it up to power, and push in the tape. And you watch the same thing that Thomas Puck saw, and that is the security feed. You fast forward for a little while, trying to get to the moment. You see the cop car pull up. You see an absolutely destroyed Thomas Puck being carried out partially by Sheriff Joe. And then fast forward a little bit more, you play again, and you see the back seat car door open, chink, and stepping out is very clearly Taylor Finney. She has been stabbed numerous times. She is covered in blood. Some of that blood, as she stands, like pools and drips out. She looks around, and then she walks straight away from the hospital here. She is walking slowly but decidedly. She's not stumbling. She's not holding any of her wounds. She is just walking forward.
Is there a direction it looks like she's going in?
It's fairly general. It's leading to the main road, and that will go one of two directions. The main road does like circle around the town, but it would go directly north or south on this section of the road.
Is she still, does it look like she's actively bleeding, or has the bleeding stopped?
The bleeding stopped. After she stood up, there was pooled blood that fell. But then by the time she walked off camera frame, there wasn't really anything dripping on the ground.
Okay. So she's decidedly going. Would I know where, like, from the video, would I know what direction she's going? From the hospital, she's going like south of the town, north of town.
You would only know that it was either north or south from that connection to the main road. So it's going to be
Got
one
it.
of those cardinal directions, but you don't know where.
Is the hospital central in town? Is it north, south, east, west?
It's on the western side of town.
Okay.
I have a related question, something that we probably would have noticed. Does she walk to the sidewalk and then turn? Or does she, as the crow flies, go straight in a direction?
She's walking through, she's on like blacktop, and you see her walk towards the main road on the blacktop. You don't see her go for a sidewalk at all.
Oh, so the
looks like
camera
she's
angle's just too tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't look like she's angling anyway. She's just walking down this main drag.
Tight.
Should we also ask the sheriff to check on the other body that was found? Make sure it's still where it is?
The one in the morgue?
Yeah.
I mean, now, yeah. So I guess the question is there like a morgue in town, or does it go to a funeral home? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it large enough that oh yeah, we just left a hospital. That body's probably sitting in the, actually, no, so that is the question then. Is there a city morgue that is a different building than the hospital, or or are they conjoined?
They're conjoined. She would either be at a funeral home or she would be at the morgue in the hospital.
I mean, we can turn around and we're in the van. I'll say I can turn around and drive us back to the hospital, but it's gonna be a weird excuse trying to get into the morgue without the sheriff. That's gonna be a hard one to swing, especially if you're not trying to dox your FBI status, Connor.
Yeah.
There's not a better way to get in there than you saying, "What's up? I can go where I want."
Yeah, no, I'd rather not play that card yet.
Yeah.
Well, or if we can contact the sheriff real quick, maybe he can like just call to check in, make sure the body's there. Like tell him like about like maybe like doing another autopsy, or if there's an autopsy progress report. So then they'll like be like, yeah, we've checked the body or something.
I think it might be worth our time. I think he's probably also in transit to his location and is going to have to process the good President Brian Pierce. So I think we should probably roll up to the school, get some of our business done, and then make it a mental note to ask him to swing down there and see what he can see. My guess is, Connor, I get the sense that the sheriff is going to be asking you what he should do for the foreseeable future. So thankfully, I think you're going to be able to instruct him quite frequently. So I think that'll be of great assistance to us. And I assume by now we're like pulling into the school.
Yeah. At this point, you were pulling in. Connor, you have seen, I guess, slightly refutable evidence of the other side here. Peeking through. I know you're still not a full believer.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm of the mind of it was some sort of it, like I said, almost like germ that reanimated. It's almost like a zombification virus or something.
Like the fungus that takes over bugs by eating
Yeah,
their brains.
that's
Yeah.
that's where my brain's at right now.
You're like, we got to get in contact with the CDC.
Yeah.
I
Those
gotcha.
cordyceps.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, the cordyceps mushroom.
Yeah,
family?
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts on quarantine, make sure this doesn't spread.
Connor's primary weapon is not his sidearm. It is Occam's razor, and there is a nice explanation for this.
Charles, I'm gonna assume you get dropped off first.
Yeah.
So the tape finishes, and you will be Charles. You're gonna be dropped off at the edge of the woods where you had last seen Emily.
All right. And Jessica, do you have like a memento or something I could like bring with me, like a cheerleader kind of like badge or anything?
I'll
Just,
pull out like my bow. And you could use this. I mean, it's my bow, but we all have the same one.
Okay. Wait, out of character, like what's the bow for cheerleading?
Like a fabric bow.
Like
rod?
on the
Oh,
on the
the bow
hair.
bow. All right,
Yeah.
great.
Like, like a
Um,
JoJo Bobo.
She pulls
Yeah,
a longbow out of her bag. She's a level 5 ranger.
Elven ears.
This was
Yeah.
worse.
or one of those like bow staffs or something. Just
Yeah,
like,
no,
We all get one.
all right, I'll take that. I guess I'll tie it around my like antler nub as I shift into a deer and sort of trot off into the woods.
That would be the creepiest
What
thing.
the
Can you
fuck?
imagine being her, seeing a deer man wearing the bow of another cheerleader lost in the woods? I'm done.
Hey,
I'm
guys.
out.
Okay, so this is insane.
Hey guys, as we all watch Charles leave, did we know Charles could do that? Did I didn't I look at the other two. Did we know that could happen?
I think that Jessica knew. Connor, I believe we glossed over it. He did do that in front of you at the college you saw it.
Yeah, I think then I like shapeshift though once I had like already gotten inside.
Oh, so he didn't see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
So
that's
he
what you're hung
transforms
up
into a deer
on?
man.
Our nice
Yeah,
friend
it
that's
is-
helping
yeah.
us can turn into a deer? Well, so be it. The devil's here.
Yeah. And,
No,
and
Jessica,
for Charles,
you make one hell of a point. That's fair enough. That's fair enough right there.
How
Yeah.
does your deer man look? Like, how big are you? How lanky?
yeah, I think the transformation itself is like he's just like thinking like gotta go fast, get into the woods, and so like that's like the compulsion that like transforms him, and so it feels very natural to him, kind of like just going down like a slide and like off the edge of it, there's like a little bit of like a whoosh, and then you're like in the water in this different form, kind of thing. So, but I think he's probably like a rather tall deer with a bit of like that kind of like dark shadowy kind of like tan fur and stuff.
Are you like a werewolf
thank
where
you so
you're
much.
like half man,
Oh,
half
yeah.
deer? Or are you a deer when you transform?
Yeah, a deer.
Okay, so
Okay.
That's how I don't know how this is true. That's significantly weirder. That's that's
right?
drastically weirder than you anamorphsing and getting stuck halfway. You being full deer is crazy.
Yeah, Connor, you see your friend Charles transform into a deer, but you're like, I bet you this is a disease. And then you see Charles turn into a deer.
Yeah. And now I have to really think about life.
Guys, I gotta go take a break. I'm gonna go back to the hotel for a while.
Behind up on the hill behind our shoulders, sitting at a picnic table eating a sandwich, is K.A. Applegate, who goes, what, and in 5 years we'll write the first Animorphs book.
And then go crazy with it?
Yeah, and then write like 36 books and half the characters die and like sacrifice themselves.
No
Those books are
spoilers for the
wild.
90s hit.
Also,
Animorphs.
Loki the apocalypse, right?
And several
Doesn't the
aliens.
apocalypse happen in that?
Yeah, but I think they time travel and they kind of undo it. But there are like 3 different alien races, and that's
Oh wow.
anyways. Animorphs is crazy, guys. Read the synopsis; it really goes crazy.
I'm going to the library, and Thomas turns around and starts walking up the hill.
You know what you're gonna find at the school library? The Animorphs. Thomas, you set off. Charles has just leapt out. Connor, I assume you're frozen for a moment.
Yeah.
Before.
All right. There's one time. Maybe there's just shapeshifters.
It's just werewolves.
Maybe
Thomas,
it's just that.
Thomas was of the same mind with psychics. He was like, maybe there's just psychics, and then, no.
It turns out.
You all
Oh yeah, I
said
forgot
no.
we said that. It turns out it's never psychics. It's like
Oh,
never
sorry,
ever.
Connor.
Psychics.
Connor, I totally forgot. I slipped some ecstasy in your McDonald's. I'm so sorry.
Some hallucinogens.
That explains it. All right.
Ah, there we go. That's better.
That's a
I said
hilarious
you-
explanation. Connor's walking up the hill and he's like,
This
"I
guy.
did LSD at a party in 1982, and this
coming back.
has to be that. This has to be that. There's no other way."
Residual
Whoa,
hallucin-
you think that you turned into a deer? Are you freaking nuts?
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
what? That didn't happen.
And the tracksuit Charles is wearing is already like deer pattern with like the tan and then the white stripes in the middle.
So it blends in. Gaslighting somebody in a situation like this where monsters do exist and you need him to know that and to believing they don't again is wild. You guys drive off while Charles enters the woods. Within a minute, you're at the campus. This is not very far away, only about a mile. You make it to the campus. The sun has fully set. It is nighttime at this point. The campus is still closed, but luckily, Connor, in your faux job as the janitor, you have keys to access basically everything. And you make quick progress around the back from the parking lot, past the sporting field, the football field and track field combo, to the library. It's not incredibly large, but it's substantial for a small college like this. You're probably going to be able to find everything you're looking for. You do see that there are lights on at the library. There are not lights on at basically any of the other locations, but there are some lit up in here. So somebody's clearly inside.
Hey, I know who's in. As we're walking up, I'll say, I actually think that I might know who is inside. The other day when we were, when I had visited the school in the morning, not realizing that things were about to take a turn for the supremely, completely, and strangely weird, I spoke, what was that boy's name? I spoke to William Graham, the student body president, and he asked if I needed any help. And I told him I was going to end up searching through books for records of local fires. I thought this was like an arson thing. I didn't think the heat clued me into that. So unfortunately, a young man is probably in there who has just wasted his afternoon. I hope he has moved on to other personal tasks by now.
You get up to the front, Connor. The door is locked. You take out the keys and clunk. Go to swing it open. Is there anything you're gonna say first?
No, I was just gonna ask. Does anyone know his upbringing?
I would, right?
You would. Jessica would have actually a special interest in this because it was revealed to me out of session that Nicole believes Jessica would have a crush on William Graham. So she probably has some intel dished out from Girl Talk on Will. So yeah, you would know some about his upbringing.
Just want to know, like, a family of high prestige, if he's up by the bootstraps, any of that.
Yeah, Jessica, roll me plus sharp or plus charm. It depends on how you wanted to get this information. If you're just picking up bits of information like through your time here, it would be sharp. If you were like dishing with the girls, it would be plus charm.
I rolled a 6.
A 6. You don't know very much. It seems like he's a bit tight-lipped about his family. You know that he grew up in town. He's been here his whole life. And he lives actually very close to you. He lives in Shady Grove.
Boy next door.
Yeah, he's a boy next door type. He's like 10 houses down on that street. But he is in Shady Grove.
Okay. All right. Nothing condemning, but nothing. Just not. All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the 6, it'll be fairly limited information.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is fine. All right. Yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
Gotcha. Yeah, Connor, you ask that right before you open the door. She gives that information, and you swing that door open. And sitting at one of these like long rectangular tables among the stacks, with one of those small desk lamps clicked on, is William Graham. You guys guessed correctly at who would be inside this library, and you see he has a stack of like newspapers and town information registries, stuff like that, and he's like taking some notes down, and he sees you guys come in, and he does a double take.
Is he Matt Damon? Yes or no?
No, he's not Matt Damon. He is Freddie Prinze Jr.
Even better.
But not actually Freddie Prinze Jr. He's a slightly different version, and all likenesses are by happenstance.
He is a legally distinct
actually
character
just
who could be
Fred.
described as looking like Freddie Prinze
Fred.
Jr.
He's Fred from the live-action Scooby-Doo.
If
No
somebody
relation
was-
to Freddie Prinze Jr.
If somebody was going to play him, I would personally cast Freddie Prinze Jr., but from like 1990. So yes, you see him, and he's taking some pretty studious notes. He sees you come in, and he's getting ready to say that campus is closed. You can't be
Can I
here.
read his mind?
Yeah, go ahead. Roll your whatever you have to roll to read mind. I think plus weird.
Jessica
Am I
hangs her
crazy
coat
for
rack
reading
up
that?
on one of the things because she reads his mind every time she sees him to see if he's thinking about her.
Oh yeah.
This
What
dude
are the
gets
thoughts?
migraines like crazy, and it's like they started like
Bloody
a month
noses.
ago. I don't know why.
He's got Swiss cheese brain.
He's gonna get a CT scan in 10 years, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't know how you're
Were you a
up."
Football player? Like, what happened to you? What'd you get?
That
Sure,
is 7
read
plus
mine.
2, so 9.
A 9. All right. How many questions do you get to ask? Or is it just? I don't know how it works really. Is it just you read his
Being a
brain?
psychic just lets you investigate a mystery by way of
investigate a
magic. So it would
mystery.
still be, it would be in line with.
You get to ask one question basically, and I'm gonna say you're just getting a general sense, right? You're trying to see what he's thinking as you enter in, or are you trying to see what he was thinking before he recognized you were there?
Yeah, I would ask, like, what is being concealed here?
Yeah. It's interesting because when you do this, you get an influx of information. You're picking up tidbits of stuff from Thomas and Connor and the residual anxieties that college students feel while they're studying for final exams, the annoyance of the library at having been ordered out of this place. All of that's entering into your mind at the same time, but you focus in to try and get the information straight from Will. And at first you just hear him like, maybe I should check a little bit back further, like 1800s, and then you open the door, and what's being concealed here isn't obvious. It's pretty late. Will should probably be at home. Campus is closed. It wouldn't make any sense for him to do this favor for the last like 24 hours for Thomas Puck. He is avoiding something. He's uneasy. He doesn't feel right. And you get that sensation as you connect to his mind that there's a cloud over him that even he doesn't really understand.
You can't shapeshift into a
Okay.
wombat or something, can you?
You hear that from Thomas and you brush that thought aside.
I look over to Thomas, I go,
You probably can.
Thomas has
Yup.
quietly, as we walk into the room in his brain, been like, how would you know if you could transform into an animal? How would you? And Thomas just like, yeah, no, how would you know? As they're making their way in, yeah, I mean, Thomas will see him. He's not going to wait too long for somebody else to introduce the moment. He'll go, William.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? We've found ourselves running as a group for you must have heard there's dangerous goings on in town. They're saying to stick together, and I'll walk in and try to get a look at what he is working on as everybody else filters in behind me.
You know, it's funny. You're just the man I was hoping to see. Come on over. I've been taking some notes, trying to find some information on fires in town for you. I know that with the library closed and campus closed, it's going to be a bit difficult.
Yeah.
But there's some typical fires, you know, a couple every year. Otherwise, there was a large fire a while back, like a long while back, but that's about it. I mean, nothing really jumping out at me. I've got all the dates written down, information written down. So for your article, right, you can.
Yeah, talking about large scale events in the local area. You said there was a large fire. When was that? What are you talking about there? And I'll look up and go, oh, and by the way, these are the people I've been moving around with today since we heard about the unfortunate news. A lot of us sort of ended up investigating the poor situation. You know Charles and actually wait a minute, you know all three of these people. we all spent time here. It's a janitor, sports coach, and cheerleader.
Yeah. I mean, I know everybody, some more than others, but you know, it's good that everybody's traveling together. You know, I'll tell you what, once I head out of here, I'd probably appreciate a bit of an escort back home. So it's good to see y'all here. Are you're here just to look more into the fires?
Well, that
All of you?
Other things, my fellow compatriots are gonna. I think you guys talked about occupying your time with some,
homework,
amateur research, homework, and other such things. And I'll take a look at if he has like this stack. I'll like grab the paper associated with whatever big fire he's talking about and set about to kind of reading through it myself. And I'll be happy to chat with him, but I imagine maybe some of the other group has questions. I don't know. We do know psychically that there is a dark cloud over his head. That is more tempting perhaps than me being like, hey, read the newspaper to me. Some college boy I don't know. Tell me the details.
Fan me as you do so. Feed me some frozen grapes. He points at the paper. He says the big one was 1881 in September.
Thomas out loud says, "Of fucking course it was." Takes it and starts reading.
And he turns to you all to see if you guys had any questions as well, navigating the library or homework questions, etc.
I'm just looking at the Colts.
Oh, I mean, there's like a spiritualism section that might have some stuff. There's some historical documentation on things.
Historical would be perfect.
Spiritualism this far south?
Yeah, it's in the restricted section.
All
right, Colts, cool. I don't have any information really, but you know, I'd be happy to help you look.
You're really channeling a college boy who is within 100 meters of a college girl. He's like, no, yeah, I can help you. It's great.
I know plenty, but not in a weird way.
I know an appropriate amount about how libraries work, and I'm confident about how much info that is.
And I promise, not too little. Jessica?
That's so impressive. Yeah. I have to translate a passage of Latin for church, so
church.
For church.
Oh yeah. Latin. He guides you down a few of the stacks, and he says we've got like foreign language studies here, so there should be a Latin translation guide. And he finds like an old red book. It's super beat up and tattered, apparently well used. And he hands that over to you. Your hands brush as he hands it. And we jump back over to Thomas. Thomas, you've gotten this information. 1881, there was a large fire.
Of course there was.
Jessica, you heard that he was thinking about going back even later. Or earlier, so he stopped pretty close to that 1881 gap, and you see that as well, Thomas. He gets down to like 1858, and it starts getting a bit scant on details, and he doesn't have
Well,
anything past that.
I mean, there's certainly not going to be a newspaper as far back as 1771. The best we can hope for is the journal or a town record, or, you know, that's if the town was big enough to be making records of deaths. And if this part of the country had people in it in 1771. Can I be honest? I have no fucking clue if that's true or not. I have no idea what the settling of that southern part of America was like in that time period.
I have an answer. It wasn't settled until like 1786 or something like that. But in this universe, it was here in 1771.
There. So wait,
this
so
isn't real
Plymouth
world
Rock is
America.
just like 20 miles, it's like 200 miles further south. So the whole revolution is just shifted down. The Saratoga
Texas is built
doesn't
really weird.
matter at all in this
No.
timeline.
Saratoga's actually been renamed. It doesn't even exist.
No
in
one
modern
gives a
day.
shit. They renamed it Horsetown in 1904.
It's actually New Charming.
Yeah, he'll look through the details on this 1881 fire. He'll first of all, like, he'll flip quickly to the obituaries. These deaths all happened in rapid succession, and it seems like the world is getting hotter. So if this is a newspaper in 1881, he'll flip to like death and birth and wedding announcements to see if there is a couple of unfortunate passings of younger people, which all would have been announced in the Sunday paper along with talking about this fire, and a bunch of hand-drawn ads for, I don't know, buckles or whatever. He'll do a little bit of that to see if it looks that similar, and then from there just sort of mosey on.
You already know you're rolling to investigate a mystery. Hit me with
totally.
that plus sharp.
Let me get my wow, 12.
Wow.
He
Okay,
floats
yeah,
off the
hold
ground. I'm
do.
so close to a level up. I actually would have loved to fail that roll.
Oh.
I would have kicked ass. No, yeah. So 12. So he's poring over fine-toothed comb, looking over this.
Yeah. So looking at the
Oh, I forgot how the game works. That's a really good point. Yeah, on a 10 plus, hold 2. Can't wait to get advanced. Anything with sharp, I have a good shot at.
mhm.
What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? What is being concealed here? Being concealed here is just going to be that it was the cult. Where did it go? Doesn't seem super relevant. What was it going to do? It seems like a maybe. What can hurt it is stupid. There's no way that that's in this report on a local fire. So I think I'm going to try to look for what sort of creature is it? And what can it do? Thomas doesn't expect that information to be in here, but he's hoping that by like filtering it through what he knows is real and what he knows is fake, he can get some sense of what it seems like could cause destruction on this scale and what logically it can do. Like, are we approaching pyrokinesis? Is this something that can just set fires with its mind? Like, do they describe 10 buildings lighting on fire all at once? Ironically, that will be very similar to something that happened in Thomas Puck's past. Or is it like a bunch of murders, a bunch of shenanigans, and fires were set as a part of that? So those are his two questions: is what sort of creature is it, and what can it do?
So, what sort of creature? What can it do? I'm going to answer first.
Nice.
You are looking at this and you're hoping to get information about this beast, right? This monster, whatever it is that they're trying to.
Whatever it is, like I'm not expecting like super detailed specifics.
Mhm.
We just have no information, and Thomas this whole time has been like, I believe in a lot. Is this Satan? Like, and so he's looking for what the connection is there, or if it is the Lucifer the Morning Star showed up in charming Mississippi a couple times.
The unfortunate reality you find is you're looking through these like clippings and journal entries and reports about the town. You find that this was a fairly solitary thing that happened. It was a church that was burned down. There were several parishioners inside of that church when it burned down. It looks like 5 people died in that fire.
Okay, can I change my second question?
Yeah, go ahead, let it
Note
rip.
to self, you don't have to ask them both quickly. So I ask what sort of creature is it, and the answer is a man, dumbass. Okay, what sort of creature is it? And then I am gonna do what happened here. And Thomas thinks he knows like half of the answer. He thinks this is somebody stopping the last attempt to end the world. He thinks somebody burned the church to stop the last attempt. So all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute, and starts to flip through again, not looking for a monster that sets fires anymore, but looking for the people who may have been here at the time.
Yeah, what happened here? You are finding references now in those journal entries, and even in one official report saying that there were witnesses that saw the Witch of the Woods. The Witch of the Woods bespoke ill tidings, and in so doing, burned down the church with a bunch of God-fearing people. They don't say that they saw the witch there, but the witch made an appearance somehow. More than one person says they saw the Witch of the Woods. And that was a portent of this ill tiding.
Okay.
So what happened here? The Witch of the Wood showed up and burned down a church, as far as these people are concerned.
And okay, so we've got this sort of, post Civil War, post antebellum, immediately fire, and they all blame the witch, and they saw the witch. And Thomas looks up and sees Jessica, and goes, "So I think we know who shows up every time." And then I'm gonna definitely pass the ball to somebody else because I'm running out of ideas. He'll go start to look at historical records of 1771 in this area, and he's looking for reports of a possession or a witch trial, something along those lines, some reference to like somebody showing up from another part of the US with the Malleus Maleficarum in hand is what he's looking for.
We jump to Jessica. Jessica, you have the Latin translation guide in front of you, and you're flipping through. Roll plus weird.
William's leaning against the bookshelf like, how's it going?
Hippopotamus is Latin.
I rolled a 6.
With a 6, you are flipping through. You translate the first words, and the first words of the Bible are the same. So that is a good guideline. You know that at least this translation works. You say, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Done. You got one sentence, you went back and forth, you translated that out. And then you flip through some more. And it takes you a good while to discern which sections might be added and which sections might be different. And you get to a page that seems well worn. It looks
I was
like
gonna say, I want to look for the pages that are greasy.
there are like ink smudges. This has been slightly torn. It's bent and crumpled a little bit. And as you're translating, there's one section that you're looking at, and it says, "Est pecus fatalum, Lucas Lator videt et flet, nam quod tunc futurum est finis erit." And you translate that out word by word. It is a grueling process. And what you find, you're like writing it down in a journal. It says, "It is the beast, the doom, the light bringer. Behold it and weep, for what comes next will be the end." And you see like a hand-drawn image below it of a stabbed man with like bloody gashes standing upright. And we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, normal. All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Prince of Charming, the Party Makes Things Worse Monster of the Week series. We have just separated out for a quick break after Jessica discovered, after translating the Latin in this ancient Bible, a quote essentially saying that there's a beast coming that will signify the end. And seeing a drawing that cuts that through.
Now, I don't have a character fact for mid-roll, but I have a question I want to ask the group. I just saw it on TikTok while I was on our little bio break there, and I want to pose it because I have an interesting answer that I think is good. If you press a button, you get $50,000. Your worst enemy, the person that you hate the most, gets $100,000. Do you press the button is the theoretical question. I have an interesting follow-up answer, but I'm curious, does anybody else have any like early notes?
The answer is already yes.
It's
I don't
50K is hard to turn down.
I don't hate anybody so bad that I would take away 50K for myself.
There you go.
I think if I had a true enemy, maybe my answer would be different, but I don't really have any enemies.
If I was John Rambo and had a list of sort of rogues, I would probably need to think this over a little harder.
Yeah, that's true. I have no rogues gallery. I'm pretty chill in general with everybody so far.
Yeah, I guess as far as like people like of the most enmity would probably be like people that have so much wealth that they're already like $100,000 would be a drop in the bucket.
I love the thought that Stefan, you are, and I do think it's true that Stefan is in fact so pure of heart that his least favorite person would be somebody institutionally evil. Not someone he knows one-on-one that he just strongly dislikes. Some institutional figure would get that money.
Also, I was thinking in my head, I was like, well, those, like, isn't there like 6 people responsible like for climate change? It's like them, but then it wouldn't even matter.
What I was gonna say was I think I would immediately do it because I would love to know. I don't know who I hold the most hatred for in my heart. There are people who in the moment I am not happy they're around. It would be so interesting to be like, no. When the chips are down, this is objectively the person that you hate the most in the world. Like, wow. It'd be so, because there's no way they're going to keep winning 100K quiet.
Also, beyond that, once I know who it is, I'd be like, you know who gave you that money? This guy right here. Grovel. Thank me now. You're welcome. Whoever my enemy is that I don't know.
So that's my interesting one. Is just I had never considered that was a really fun thermometer to be like, hey, do you know who it is? You're an adult. It's your middle school bully still. You'd be like, no. You'd be like, it's not. You'd be like, it's not Jeff Bezos. Like to yourself in the mirror. You'd be like, you've learned everything about the world you've learned, and it's still Todd. Like.
Nicole, what did you say?
It'd be so interesting.
I said your enemy would just be Bob, like the minions.
Oh, the minions would collectively get $100,000 from me. Yeah. Honestly, I'm a big minion hater because sorry everybody watching our YouTube video Monster of the Week session. I am a big hater of the minions because I feel like it was ridiculous to give them one spin-off movie and then be like, do it 4 more times.
4?
Despicable Me already had minions in it. We didn't need Despicable Me and the Minions and then Despicable Me 17. Like, we don't need that much. I have come back around in my older age now to go, you know what? I respect the Minions' plucky attitude. That they keep coming back.
I'm just imagining the Gran Torino movie where Spencer learns to respect minions, where he like learns about their culture.
So I would press that button, and I think it would be funny for all the minions to get $100,000 because each of them would get like $10, and they would buy like a fucking banana or something. So that's fine. That's all right.
Still a pretty deep-seated dislike in that. Go buy a fucking banana or whatever.
I'll let him do that. I'll give him that.
All right, I'm truly so sorry, but I had to pose that to the group. That was itching the minute I heard it.
I do imagine though, like the you press the button, getting 150,000 for yourself, and being like, There's the
Whoa,
self-loathing.
being like, I need
I
to
guess
talk
it's
to
paid
someone
for
Oh,
it.
about
some
this.
people, yeah.
I'm gonna turn
100K
right around
would
and
make
give
that
some of
easy.
that money to a therapist and be like, "You're never gonna believe this. It turns out it's me. The
So
smoke
we're
is
gonna go-
internal."
Just to finalize this, we're gonna go around the horn and say yes or no. You would do it and give your worst enemy 100K and you 50K. Stefan,
Sure, yeah.
Michael,
Yeah, I don't know who it would be, but yeah.
Nicole,
That's no question.
me as well.
I press
Yeah.
it every day.
Yeah, I do it.
So here's the thing. I feel like it's pretty indicative of where we all are in life.
Yeah. What does the bank account need to be at for you to be
You're
like,
like,
no,
nah.
fuck that guy?
I'll deny that. Because for me,
I'm
gotta
in
be
a
pretty
Bathins
cozy.
level.
if you were like, I'll give you $1,000 and the person you hate the most will get 50, I'm still pressing that button.
Good.
Their joy doesn't take away my joy at $1,000. Anyway,
Spencer goes out using some of his 1,000 to buy a big one of those posters that's like that Buddhist quote that's like, a candle's light is not diminished by lighting others. Sits down, feels pretty good. All
There we
right,
go.
we're
1K up.
researching ghosts in the
We're back.
library or whatever.
we now go over to Connor. Connor, you're looking up stuff on cults, just as
Yeah.
a general idea. Do you want to specify it at all, or are you just going C for cults?
Mostly cults about end of the world, and if there's any been cult if there have ever been cults in Charming or surrounding areas or towns like Charming.
Roll me a plus sharp. You're researching.
All right.
You're investigating a mystery, if that makes a difference.
I don't know. Let's see.
All right.
And
So while we're looking around, Thomas ducks his head around the corner while Connor is searching for C, and he goes, "It's Dewey Decimal, buddy. You're looking for 230.9 cults and sects," and then goes back to his thing.
No, it does not. Sadly, reading that situation would help me, but
honestly, neither of them really make sense. You're
No.
investigating a mystery generally. You're not going to be able to ask, what sort of creature is a cult? It doesn't work.
ooh, yeah, that's a 3.
A 3, you're finding the real general stuff. Typically, cults are led by a charismatic leader. This is still a small town college in the Deep South.
Yeah,
You're not getting a whole lot of info.
that's
And
fine.
beyond that, you're not finding any specific references to cults in this area. It seems like most of the books here are like mass-produced paperbacks and hardcovers. There are some town records and things, as evidenced by the journal entries and newspapers, but there's nothing on cults here.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Jessica, you got that bit of info. Thomas and Connor, you were wrapping up your various investigations. Jessica, you translated that. Do you alert the rest of your allies here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jessica, you take this heavy Bible and this worn red book, and you slam them down on the table next to Thomas, and you call Connor over, and you all convene. Will also walks up. He's still here, so he's like, "Oh yeah, what do you got? You translate out the thing for your Bible study?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's for my what's it called? Confirmation?
I'm pretty sure that happens a while.
No, there's 2. Maybe
there
not.
is.
Confirmation's like 12. So
Yeah,
Jessica hasn't been to church in a while.
you know, it's never too late. I guess. So it's what do we got? Would you translate out?
Uh actually I'm saving it. It's a big surprise. It's like when when it's like your bar mitzvah, you have to read it. You like read a special passage.
You just sort of walked over like there was going to be an announcement of some sort. So I thought, I thought that maybe
Yeah.
to the room.
He's just like here.
Yeah. I mean, if it's
No,
weird for
it's
you, I'll
fine.
go somewhere else.
William. Thomas like looks at William and he goes, can I roll just a quick vibe check? Just a quick, what does he
Yeah, hit me
seem
with a
like? Do I need to lie? What is, probably read a bad situation. Like, do I need to lie? Is he going to freak out? Because Thomas in his head can think there's a pretty straightforward lie, which is, yeah, Jessica's church asked her to read this passage. She's freaked out. And so she came to translate it because it's not in the Bible she used to read, and she's worried that like somebody's pranking her. They're trying to get her to read the wrong thing, right? There's like a pretty easy little loop that doesn't make perfect sense, but he probably isn't going to be like, I don't believe you. Or can we be like, well, we saw, can we do some version where we're like, well, the person who died, this Bible was found nearby. Like, what is there some way for us to get a very quick read on Will and what kind of kid he is?
You gotta roll charm to get a vibe on this dude. There are things you know about him already.
I would like to gently push charm.
You want to go sharp? Yeah, charm is how
over
you...
sharp to tell how he's like what kind of dude he is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that charisma and the charisma stats in general tie more into understanding the human mind in relation than sharp. Sharp is like looking around and understanding the environment.
I'll let it slide because we're streaming, but that's insane. that makes no sense. Yeah, I'll go for charm. My odds aren't great, but I got a +1. I look at him real handsome, so I can tell what he thinks.
He looks at you real handsome, and you're trying to understand what he thinks.
Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. I barely fail. I'll mark experience.
You know things about him already. He has gone out of his way to help you in a way that most people wouldn't. He didn't balk at you saying, "Can you look into these fires?" Yeah, I'm giving you, these are things that your character would just know.
Okay.
He didn't balk at these things.
All right.
You don't know, but you do know those things in universe.
So I'll do a very quick nonverbal. I look over at Jessica. Thomas looks over at Jessica and does a little like. So I'm I'm a reporter, and you heard about the girl who was found. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, I find myself. I'm going to be frank with you. I went to investigate the scene, and I ended up speaking to the sheriff, and he was saying that there was some other reports of strange activity around, and then Jessica saw somebody tearing ass down the road in the van leaving from the school, and she followed on a bicycle, and we ended up finding out that another person had been attacked and killed, and after meeting the sheriff, William, it didn't feel right to leave it to him. Does that make sense? Have you met him yet?
Now you're gonna roll plus charm for sure, just to get that message across. I'm gonna say you're gonna have a +1 forward because this is somebody you have interacted with pleasantly before, and you've given a pretty good cover.
I'll give Connor a look of, if all else fails, you might need to do your version of this. You said +1 forward?
Yep.
That barely scooches us into a 10. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah, with a 10, they're going to do basically what you said for the reason you gave them. So Will nods along and he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that people are looking into it. The sheriff is a great
He's
guy.
a nice fella.
Mm-hmm.
Bless his heart.
But not necessarily the most keen on investigative information. So you are an investigator for web-based publishing and whatnot. So I guess if we're looking for investigation, then that's great.
And Jessica,
he like pushes some papers out of the way. He's like, I mean, I'll help
And Jessica has
However I
been
can.
an absolute sleuth in all of this. Extremely impressive. She found this, large Bible nearby one of the scenes, seemingly connected to one of the people that may or may not be involved. And so we thought we would, do a little sleuthing of our own and get to the bottom of it. What did you find? What did you find? What did it say?
I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, you read
And
it.
it might not sound like me, but I'm gonna read it out loud.
Yeah, in a much higher pitched voice than what you're about to hear. It is the beast, the doom, the light bringer. Behold it and weep, for what comes next will be the end.
So really cheery stuff.
I don't remember that in the Bible. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember ever seeing that.
I mean,
Yeah, I think this is someone's special Bible.
It's Old Testament.
Old Testament, real old, by the looks of it.
I mean, we can have a lot of fun here. I mean, it's certainly, compared to some of the later passages of the Bible, it is relatively tame. It has no mention of great trumpets, undead, or great beasts with 7 heads, each of which bearing the head of a different animal rising from the ocean. This is comparatively tame, but what it is that I do not like is actionable. It seems to point in a direction. This does not make vague reference to a creature in the far-flung future. It says, it is the beast, the doom, the light bringer. Behold it, it is before you. So I'm guessing the passage before or afterwards mentions the method by which you would behold this creature. And I fear that perhaps that is connected to the deaths of these unfortunate girls. Also, and I point to the 1881 burning of the church. While I'm talking to everybody, and I go, if this is connected to a larger long-term strangeness, if this is some cult activity, the fire that our good friend William here seemed to have located in time and history in 1881, and I slide it forward, was located at a church, and it seems to have been a private citizen masquerading as the witch who burned it down with the people inside. At first I was thinking perhaps this was similar to what we were seeing here, but it's totally different. No dead girls in random corners of the town, no ritual murder. This is a good old-fashioned cleaning house of what sounds to have potentially been some arm of this cult that may be involved in our current proceedings. I was hoping to find something from the early 1770s to see if perhaps in 1771 every 100 years does this cult cause shenanigans? Is this some group from, because I mean, who knows, perhaps this is some English cult that hopped the Mayflower and decided to try some new stuff over here. I don't know, but I'm still sort of in the process there. I'll look to Connor, who is holding a beginner's guide to Christian faith, and goes, I'm guessing the cult search ended somewhat disappointingly given this library's and I look over and there's a bunch of romance books with cowboys shirtless next to me. Choice of funding cost. I imagine was perhaps not the easiest research project for you, Connor.
Yeah, no. Now I know a cult is usually run by a charismatic man, but that's about it.
Yes, the charismatic man. I look at Charles. What was Charles up to in this scene?
Charles is actually out in the woods right now.
Oh yeah, he's a deer
here.
running through the woods.
Yeah.
Whoopsie doo. Sorry.
Easy to forget, you know what I mean?
How did that slip the old brain? I think that my brain probably sorted that into, Ethan must have broken out into a fever when he heard that and stuck it in a bucket.
The gaslighting effect towards the Connor character, just extra.
Strictly internal gaslighting. I love that.
He is reading a book on foraging.
He's getting firsthand experience in the forestry.
And Thomas would like make meaningful eye contact with Jessica when he says somebody embodying the witch did this 100 years ago, and then will stand up and try to poke through. I mean, unfortunately, for like local records from 1771, unless there is a local museum attached, I'm really not sure what we're gonna run into, unless there is like The History of Charming Mississippi, written by E.B. Gungus. Like, you know what I mean? Like a book that is written locally, published locally, on the shelf. We play a lot of D&D. I know Gungus kind of came out of nowhere.
You look at the shelves, you find Jeezy's right there. It's E.B. Gungus.
That's not a joke. We write fantasy stuff in the off time, so I go for a name and I say some shit.
E.B. Gungus would work in D&D, especially if it's like E-E-B-E-E. It's E.B. Gungus.
Their name isn't E.B. Gungus.
It's
First name
E.B..
E.B., second name Gungus. Guys, I'm scrapping my idea for our next campaign.
We're all playing E.B. Gungus disciples. You know that there's not a museum in town. You've been around enough to know that that doesn't exist. Historical records, there's a chance that in the like the town clerk's office there might be some stuff. Town clerk's office is shut up real tight right now because that was also the mayor's office, where a murder happened, and then a second kind of murder happened when the sheriff ran over the mayor with a car.
Are we lucky enough that there's like a historical society for the town of Charming, or is there a historical society for the county and
There's
it's
a
a 45
founders
minute...
council.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a founders council like in Vampire Diaries.
Yes. I guess my question is it 45 minutes away in the county office in Biloxi, or is it here? Like,
you ask about that, and Will says, you know, you're never gonna believe this. My dad is actually the chair of the historical society. He might have some extra information.
absolutely. Biloxi's a real
That's
city
convenient, Will.
in Mississippi?
It's in Mississippi, yeah.
You're so convenient and helpful.
You know, I hear that a lot.
He's a charming
how
fellow.
helpful I am.
He's a charming fellow for sure. So where is it though?
It's in town. They host meetings pretty regularly, like every couple weeks. The society doesn't have a dedicated location. I think that the members just hold on to various items that are registered to them, and they bring them for, edification, research, stuff like that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have the site and
Oh, yes.
Naturally.
well, I have the site and
Ah,
On episode 1, we were like, so you have powers too? And it's episode 4, and Charles turned into a deer, and Jessica can see ghosts.
so you have the site. What does it do?
and it says you can see the invisible, especially spirits and magical influences. You may communicate, maybe even make deals with the spirits you see, and they give you more opportunities to spot clues when you investigate a mystery.
Yes.
I want to see if there's some spooky ghost sitting on William's shoulder.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll whatever you have to roll for that.
Roll for spooky ghost.
He's like, my dad can help with that. And Jessica, you open your eyes super wide. A third eye opens on your head. No, you're just staring at him, not blinking. It is a little unnerving. A 10. Okay. You have connected to his mind, and you felt a certain unease about him. And you are using an ability that you've never used before. You're unlocking your sight here. And it's the same as that, like, huge amount of information entering your mind all at once when you do your telepathic links. But instead, purely visual. There's no sound going on. There's no thoughts entering your mind. You just open, and it's like you are seeing for the first time. You're seeing an extra frequency that you've never been able to observe. Nobody's been able to observe. And you see, you do see spirits flitting about. There's like orbs of light traversing through. They're passing by harmlessly. You see a librarian in the corner that wasn't there, stacking books that aren't actually going onto the shelf. And around Will, you see a black aura just completely covering him. Within that black aura is a golden light in the chest. but he is shrouded in darkness, an inky blackness that you can barely see through to his true form. You can't see through that black inkiness at all.
Yeah, but I know that goes down real smooth for Jessica. Just because, like, he's what? He's troubled? I can fix him? There's a light inside?
Great. Okay, good. Awesome. I would like to, I don't know. It says I can communicate, but I don't know if that's gonna work.
Yeah. What do you say? First of all, you are speaking out loud. I need that to be so clear. If you're gonna try and talk, you are speaking.
You good, bro?
Roll cringe damage real quick.
Yeah. You good, bro? No, I don't say that.
You could.
No.
Now, oh, interesting. Now there's an interesting, you can, if memory serves right, you can manipulate someone through your psychic Jamski. So I'm curious, like does she just need to say something, or does she need to be like, get out of him? Like, I'm just curious because
William.
Just because you took that specific move, like, is there a way to like twist it a little, or do you have to straight up be like, or does she have to hold up 2 pencils? The power of Christ compels you.
If you wanted to keep Will from seeing what you're doing, you would have to attempt to essentially use magic on him to knock him unconscious, to turn off that part of his brain that will be observing this, so you could speak to whatever this is. You could do that.
I kind of want to, but I think what I'll do is first I will go up to him and I'll be like, "Can you hold this for a second?"
Oh yeah, sure.
This Bible.
Yeah, he grabs the Bible and he's holding it. In your sight, you see some of that blackness pull away from his hand as he grabs onto it.
Great. Awesome. Oh God.
What's up? Something bothering you?
Everybody, bare minimum, I need to know what Charles and Connor are doing, because Thomas is going as this incredibly wide. Jessica's just like staring at him and then tells him to hold a Bible and then looks worried, and Thomas is like, what?
You guys see Jessica's eyes are like slightly lighter than their typical color. It's obvious to you all as an FBI agent and a paranormal investigator that she has something going on. Not him. He's nervous. He's just grabbing a Bible.
I pat myself down just to make sure I still have my gun and knife and not that she's not about to kill him.
Yeah, you've still got your gun and knife. Jessica, what are you doing?
I kill him.
You take out a blade. No, what do you do?
I'm gonna ask him, I'm like, your aura is like so weird right now. No, I'm saying, like, you look sick. Are you okay? Can I touch his hand?
Yeah. You touch his hand, the one that the shadows have pulled away from. Roll me plus weird.
No.
No.
Unfortunately.
It's so good.
Unfortunately, you gotta roll me plus weird.
Your weird should be pretty good.
I think my weird is plus. So it's 6 plus 2.
An 8. You touch his hand with one of your hands. As you make that contact, you feel your other hand reaching for your waist where the large blade is resting, like hidden. You are about to grab the knife and plunge it into his heart. You are so close to killing this man in the middle of the library in front of everybody. And it is a Herculean effort to push that urge away and pull your hand back off of his hand. You don't kill him, but you are really close.
Maybe if I kiss him like Snow White, he'll come out,
Hey,
and
You could always try.
the mean portion will be gone. It'll cure him, like the Beast,
you could try.
like Beauty and the Beast.
Are you going to attempt to knock him unconscious in any way, through magic or otherwise, and attempt to communicate with this dark presence, or no?
I think I still will, but not for long.
Yeah, I will say this, Thomas. You see her reach for where you know that knife is for a second, but then she pulls her hand back away. What do you say, Nicole, aka Jessica?
What I want to.
What do you want to knock him out first?
Yeah.
All right, use magic. You're going to attempt to. This is going to be the same as like inflicting harm.
I like how you're banishing a creature, but the
Whoever
creature is William
is a
Graham.
human,
You're
yeah,
banishing
his
him.
unconsciousness.
I want the monster to stick around. I got questions.
Mhm.
What do
Really
I
trying to
roll?
cure
It's
the
magic.
wolf man,
It's
but so
weird.
that he's only wolf.
Turn into a beast.
That's 9 + 2.
An 11. You before you pull away, you squeeze his hand really quickly, and you say sleep, and he
What the hell?
collapses down into a seat.
Something bad is in him.
You reached. You were about to stab. Was the voice in your
The
head
gun,
again?
the gun, the gun, the gun. Yeah. 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 Something bad in there.
Yeah. What did you say?
Something real bad. And I wanted to see if it would touch the Bible, and it didn't.
The town.
So.
But
But there's a gold.
Yeah, when
in,
he wakes up,
light.
when he wakes up, we should ask him if that society that his dad's a member of. You think the mayor and the president of the college are members? Because
Thank you.
it occurs to me that if you want to bring some kind of evil and deprecious force into the world, and I look down, you might need somewhere to put it.
No, do you think his dad would really do that to him?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And Thomas will like whip around the corner. Is there some way that
I
we
can't
can like
fix him.
I don't want either of us to fail. We both kind of have some degree of this like psychic jamski here. I can read the psychic environment, which I think will be helpful because I have sensitive. I can open my brain to the psychic environment. And you're kind of rocking with the whole spooky vibe. I'll be like, do we want to try to... I take it you knocked him out for a reason. Are we going to try to have a chat with the shadow man? Anybody?
I don't know if it is communicable. I don't know if we can, but I needed to, probe without Will watching.
So Thomas, you're going to open your mind to the psychic environment.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand there and really get on some Professor X shit and like put my hands on either side of his head. And my goal was mainly to help. I'm trying to help Jessica out. This seems like way more her bag. I'm just hoping to like amplify or something, so that she can have an easier time communicating with whatever this thing is.
Yeah.
But I would like to help
You're
out
gonna have
and
to
roll
roll
plus
to
weird
help
to do
out.
it if I could.
You can do plus weird. You're using your psychic abilities here.
Wow, crazy rolls. I might change out my d6s. The white one hasn't rolled anything but a 6 yet.
Woo.
Whoa.
That's a 13.
12 plus your help lets them act as if they just rolled a 12 regardless of what they actually got. Jessica, roll me 2d6 as well. I just want to see if you also get a 12 plus.
I don't have the advanced help out move,
Oh, that's
unfortunately.
advanced.
So she only gets the +1.
foolish.
Tragic.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Wait, so I get a +1
Plus
and
one to this roll. That's all you get. is plus one.
okay, because I rolled 9 + 2, so +1.
Well,
12.
Nice.
yeah, huge
Also,
rolls.
I just rolled what did I roll 6, 7, 8, 9, or 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, or something like that. That was weird.
Huge rolls from the psychic crew all around. Thomas, you grab onto his head and you start reading this environment, and you are opening yourself up to danger. You've heard the description Jessica gave, but you have some mental safeguards in place that keep whatever this is from entering your mind. You feel it scratching at the walls of those barriers, but you open him up as well to Jessica. Jessica, you are encountering this thing. Its guard is slightly lowered as it's attempting to get at Thomas, opening up his mind. What are you going to do?
Do I have to ask one of those questions?
You can basically ask any question now. You have opened up the spirit to communication using weird. You don't have to ask an investigator bad situation question now.
I want to use this role to ask well, I guess it could be what's it going to do? No. I want to ask a question, but also I want to see if I can communicate with William. Like him.
You cannot communicate with William.
Not
William
at
has
all.
been knocked
Not even
unconscious.
his little.
You can communicate with this being.
Okay.
But William is unconscious. He will not be able to communicate.
I just want to see if he was still.
What are you asking?
I'm gonna ask what was it going to do?
What is this thing going to do?
Yeah.
William's mouth moves, but his eyes are closed. A voice that is William's emanates, but almost doubled. And you ask, psychically, you probably don't even say this out loud, you're asking, what are you doing? What is your plan? What are you going to do? And it says, I am taking this body, and I'm claiming heaven, this town, and all mortal souls. What are you going to do?
Cry.
And then it says, ah, behold it and weep. Perfect. And it pulls away, and your psychic connection is severed. You see it still there on his body, but your vision fuzzes out, and you are no longer psychically connected. Thomas, it's as if your hands get shocked, and you pull them away. And we jump to Charles Kevinson in deer form, running through the woods here. Roll me investigate a mystery. So you're gonna roll plus sharp to see if you can find the trail. You're gonna have +1 forward on this because you've already broken this trail before.
Great. Cool. Yeah, I guess following the tracks that the others had kind of I guess since there were 3 people plus the cheerleader all running through here.
Charles turning into a full deer does mean that we have made canonical that where creatures in Spencer's world work like Twilight.
They do.
They work like Twilight. They're not like other ones. They're like Twilight, and that's hilarious.
You see a wolf in the woods? You never know.
You never know.
You never know. What'd you get?
That's a 7 total, but I'm kind of I think he's probably pushing past his limits at this point because it's he knows there's a person in danger and really wants to find them and get them away from all this stuff. So he's going to be blowing a luck point, I think.
Ooh. Finally, a
like
luck point getting
that.
burned. That's what I like to see. Okay, so you are investigating here. You can ask 2 questions. I'm going to say you're reading a bad situation. You're not really looking for what monster or what happened here. You're trying to find this person in your best way about doing that. So you can ask 2 of these questions.
For read a bad situation.
Oh, read a bad situation on a 10
or
plus hold 3. You can ask 3 read a bad situation questions.
Oh, all right.
And remember, when you get a hold, you don't have to go You can grab
Gotcha.
one and put it in your pocket and say, I'm gonna hold on to what's my best way out until I am where a victim is. You can hold those and sort of use them. It's up to Spencer a little bit because you can use them within the same scene. So it's really up to when the scene kind of comes to an end.
All right. I guess the first one, like, probably the best way to protect the victims. Like, I guess finding them might be the best way so far, but
I think your best question is going to be what's my best way in then.
that one,
Because
yeah.
you do know that the best way to protect is to find. So your best way in, you find these tracks. There's a bunch of like broken branches and tossed over muddy sections from where Connor was tackled and the events transpired here. And you find a small set of tennis shoe tracks leading out deeper into the woods. So your best way in is going to be following those tracks, and you have a bead on them. You know where she went. Your deer vision is allowing you to see a little bit better at night than most of us would. But if you go into the road, better watch out. You're going to get blinded hit by a car. So you do see your best way in. You find those tracks.
All right. Yeah. So I guess following those for now. And yeah, I guess that'll probably I'll hold the other 2 for now.
You follow this trail, and it goes for quite a while. You're walking for about 15 minutes, going deeper and deeper and deeper into these woods. Then you get to about 20 minutes, still deeper. The moon getting higher in the sky. You've been walking for about 30 minutes, still following this trail. Every once in a while, having to double back, follow the path, and say, okay, I found these tracks again. And you follow it for that good half hour, and suddenly, mid-stride, the footsteps disappear. They stop. You double around, you look left and right, backtrack, you follow, nothing. It's as if she's running, walking, for about 5 minutes she's been walking here, and then mid-stride, footstep, nothing.
All right. I guess any dangers we haven't noticed? Like, I guess I'd probably be a little like on edge and prickly at this point too.
Charles, you heard the town myths, the nursery tales that everybody else heard here. If anything, you heard them more growing up than anybody else. The Witch of the Woods here is an ill omen, 1, a boogeyman, 2, and something that everybody in town at some level believes exists here. And you are one of them, especially now, knowing what you know, seeing what you've seen, meeting Jessica, having your own transformation take place. You are sure that the Witch of the Wood exists. And if the Witch of the Wood exists, the cabin exists. But nobody knows where that cabin is. You're walking, you're looking for that trail. You turn. Suddenly you see that the trail continues. You follow it on. And in front of you, lit, illuminated from inside, an orange glow, the exterior, a cabin. A cabin that likely doesn't exist, or at least doesn't exist today, but nevertheless is before you. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you, everybody, for watching Monster of the Week. The Party Makes Things Worse, The Prince of Charming. We are getting there now. We're getting
my
deep into the
God.
mystery gang. You can join us every Monday, 7:30 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and on Twitch. Please subscribe, like the video, share with your friends so you can talk about it, do your own theory crafting outside of the game. And you can follow us on TikTok, where we post memes and funny videos. We post some educational content for TTRPGs, things like that. So follow us there, YouTube and Twitch. You can also buy our D&D adventure, The Lich's Dollhouse, on DriveThruRPG. Just search The Lich's Dollhouse or TTRP Guy, and we should pop up there. And we stream 2 other times each week. We do DM Writer's Room, and that is every Tuesday. Tuesday. Every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we do Game Master, Masters of Games, every Sunday, and that's 7:30 p.m. as well.
We don't do Tuesdays. We do Thursdays.
This one used to be Thursday. This
Oh,
game was Thursday, so we do Tuesdays.
so
DM Writer's Room
shoot.
has always been Tuesday.
okay.
The
So we're
Party
Sunday,
Makes
Monday.
Things Worse was
Okay.
was Thursday for a while, and then had to move to Mondays because the semester started, and we're a bunch of theater educators and other jobs.
We hit Sunday,
Okay.
Monday, Tuesday, real early week streams back to back. And we play Game Master, Masters of Games, where we are playing Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, and we're going to beat that, I think, pretty soon. And then we'll probably get back into Baldur's Gate and play a couple of other games soon. So
You missed us
please
taking
watch
down
all those old
Mesmer. Go back and
videos.
watch that. That was
Yeah,
brutal.
we just killed Mesmer. So, or did we? No, we did. So watch us kill Mesmer on our Elden Ring stream. That's everything on my end, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Bye.